Good morning. Today is February 29th. As I stated earlier, I'm going to bore you a little bit because I want to go over this in such detail that you go, Sergeant, stop talking. I get it, move on. But I want you to see this because all these skills are so important. And, let's just dive into it. Again, there's no right or wrong spot of where you want to begin, but you can make your life much, much easier. I did go over that yesterday. I'm going to go ahead and draw my axes. I am projecting, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. And call this my absolute origin of 0, 0. Now, why did I choose that? So we see the dimensions. They're everywhere through this. Do you see these arrows right here in these lines? These are called leader lines, Leader, like follow the leader. And the reason they're called leader lines is they lead our eyes. And if I notice at this point right here, as the drawings get more complex, choosing a location to start from might not be as easy. But our eyes are led by these leader lines as a clue. And you'll notice the point 25, look, there's a leader line that happens to be going to this. This 125 is a leader line. In fact, 3.0 is a good leader line. In fact, look at 1, 1.5, and 2. If you follow their leader lines, don't they go on the x-axis? So a lot of things are pulling my eyes to this spot. Could I have done my origin right here? 100%. But there's far fewer leader lines that's coming to that point. So while it can be done, you'll end up doing more mental math and calculations, and it's just a bit of a waste of time. So look at the leader lines. I try to choose something usually in the bottom left-hand corner because this way it keeps my absolute coordinates always being positive. Positive x, positive y. Cool. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll build this kind of fairly quickly. If I were in AutoCAD right now, I'd hit line, and then my first comment would be 0, 0, representing this point. Followed by, well, there's my length of 3, and I'm still on the x-axis, 0. To go to this point, it shares the same x value. I'd have 3, and 1.5. Am I moving too quickly? I told you I'll be a little boring and slow. I want to make sure you have a good, strong foundation. Next, we're going to go to this point right here. In reality, if you think about that, all the way across is 3, but then I come back a little. And how far did I come back? 75. Think of money. $3 minus 75 cents. 2 and a quarter.
Yeah, you got it.
I'm going to have to do some transactions with you later on. Make sure you bring some money to school, Jesse. We can talk. So this point right here is the x value of 2.25. You had the quarter right. I'll give you credit. And that means I'm right here. Now, coming up is the full height, which we see is 2. Now, this point, well, do you agree that it's 1 less than 2.2 and a quarter? Because I'm going on the x. So really, this is 1 and a quarter. My height, though, how far it is from the x-axis is still the same. It's still 2. We're down to this point at this time. 0 in the x, 1.25 in the y. Okay, again, 0 in the x. And a little bit of mental math because we have to go up a quarter, plus we have to go up 50 cents. Jesse, quarter plus 50?
75.
All right, $3.10. Good job. 75 cents. Okay, we're almost finished. X value here, again, we can see going to the right, there's the 75. So we have 75 in the x. And the y value, still you have the original quarter, plus 50 more, makes 75. So that spot is 0.75, 0.75. This location right here is the x value is still 0.75. But my y value is only a quarter, 0.25. Last point, x is 0, y is 0.25. And back to 0, 0. Cool. Changing colors. Gonna get a little weirder. Bear with me. Start off 0, 0. No different. And to get to this, what is the first symbol we have to pick in relative? At. So it knows where it's referencing its point. It just happens to be referencing the original origin, but that's not always going to be true. So from this location to here, I'd have to move at 3 in the x, 0 in the y. To get to this location and using relative, where I'm standing at, consider this your origin. Am I moving it all in my x? No. So at 0, comma, how far am I moving in my y? 1.5. You're starting to see the differences. And that's why I'm kind of stacking them up. Okay, we're standing at this location right here, and we want to get to this spot. We'll say at. Now, from here, I would move negative 0.75. Try to write that as best I can. Now I need to come up. So I just came over 0.75. What is this distance here? Good, because you saw the distances. We know 2 is the overall height. This was 1.5. So I've had to just subtract them, and I have comma 0.5. And immediately, this is looking extremely different from the absolute coordinate system, but it gives you the same thing. Let me get rid of that. Let's go back to my color. All right, we're standing at this location right now. We want to get right to here. We'll say at, well, -1, because I'm only moving over 1 to the left, and I'm not moving it all in the y. So that one's very different looking, but still easy. All right, here we go. At, ask yourself, how far in the x do you have to move? Well, if I'm standing here, I know that value has to be negative. How far? 0.25, you sure? Just 0.25? Sound like Jesse. Well, let's talk for a second. The whole thing is 3, right? $3. So let's come up here. From here to here is 3. Would you agree? Take $3, subtract 75 cents. Good. Subtract $1. So this distance has got to be what?
-2.
Hold on, you guys are killing me. I mean, I'm listening to you, and my memory is screwed up. I've got 3. So basically, it's $1.75 right here. You see $1 plus 75. What's $3 minus $1.75? $1 and $2.20. 125. Jesse, I'm gonna need you to be quiet for the rest of the period. The best part is, hold on. The best part is, guys, everything is being recorded right now, so we have proof of your mental math.
It's too early in the morning.
You need to slurp on some more of your coffee, sir.
You know what? Listen, I got this class and then math class afterwards. I can't be doing this much math.
Okay, I think we've now confirmed that this distance is going negative 125, and then the height of it we can see is 125. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's from this. Let's see, we're coming down. Oh boy, down. We know the whole height is 2. We know this is 125. So $2 minus $1.25 is 75 cents. And since we're going down, make sure it's negative 0.75. We just got to this location. Moving down again, we'll start off with the at symbol. If I'm standing right here, I'm not moving at all in the x, which is kind of nice, at 0. And I'm moving down. Well, we don't see it right away. We know that the whole thing is $1.25. And from here to here is 75. So $1.25 minus 75 cents is 50 cents. I'll answer that.
It's got to be personal.
I think it is at this point. I'm just having too much fun with it. I'll leave you alone, sir, for today. Maybe. I'm standing at this location right here. I want to move to this location. So at the x, so the x is easy. It's just 0.75. And my y, since I'm not moving up or down at all, it's just 0. I'm now standing at this location right here. I want to go down. I'm not moving at all in my x, so at 0, and I'm only going down by 0.50. You guys bored yet? Good. I'm standing at this point right here. I want to get to this location. That's going to be at, well, I'm going to move negative 0.75, so negative 0.75, and the y is 0. And it's getting really busy down there. But to get down back, it would be at negative a quarter, comma, excuse me, at 0, comma, negative a quarter, because we're going down in the y. Beautiful. Done with that one. Let's see. The interactive method. It's going to be the same as the absolutes. But what I would want to most likely do is probably turn on my snap mode and then use, there we go, let me type in 0, comma 0. Notice in the bottom right here, you can see the X and the Y. That's where my eyes are shooting to. So by turning on snap mode, you can see when I zoom in, I can get really easy numbers. And since everything is either a 0.0 or actually I wouldn't be able to do this one. I wouldn't be able to do 0.25. Yeah, I still could. You guys don't have. I haven't taught you how to do it yet. But for the most part, I would just simply look down and try to match up the X and the Y accordingly. Okay. In terms of direct, how long is this line? 3. So that would be really easy. I would probably turn snap mode off and then turn ortho on and simply point. Now, obviously, it's telling me my line right now is 12, but if I only want to go 3, I'll just type in 3 and hit enter. And it looks like it's still 12, but watch what happens when I push up. Come on. There it is. It went up 3. And I know my next column would be the height of this is going to be 1.5. I type in 1.5, and there it is. And I'd have trouble with my next spot because it's an angle, and I'm in ortho mode, and I can't do angles. So you're right. I'd have to leave my ortho mode and probably jump to an absolute or to a relative or to an interactive.
That's how I did it yesterday. I was using ortho for most of the time, but then as soon as it came
And that's what you're going to have to do depending on the type of picture and how you see it. So we just covered this thing in 4 different ways. Let's start with the newest method. Don't be so excited. The problem with the last one was there was that angle, right? Now, we can use interactive for a bit of an angle, but it's not really precise. And ortho only creates 0, 90, 180, 270, and 360. There's a lot of things in between there. So this method is called polar. P-O-L-A. Thank you for the compliment. It's not easy, I know. In the way we write the language that AutoCAD understands, it's going to start off with the at symbol. So that tells us it's a relative-based location from where you're standing at. At the distance, so however far we want to go, 5, 6, at 8. So now we know how far we're going, but we need to tell it the angle. And I'll push the angle sign, which is if you hold shift and hit your comma button, you'll notice that's where the angle is located. And then we'll put in the number. So let's kind of do this together and you'll see where we're going to start. No, we're going to do it together right now. So you should have a blank or your AutoCAD open. Austin, this is the interactive part where I need you. Okay, everybody go ahead and click line. Type in 0, 0, hit enter. We're going to start right at the origin. And we're going to draw this line. Don't do it, though. I want to tell you how to do it. Where am I at? Here we go. We always take our angle from the positive x-axis. So here's my x-axis. And guys, how many degrees is this? 90. How many degrees if I short it all the way down? 0, right? How about, what do you think that one is? 45, good. How about maybe this one?
180.
How about that one?
120.
Oh.
Well, it's got to be bigger than 90, less than 180, okay? So, yeah, all right, I'm fine with that. We're in the ballpark. How about if I start here and I open up, and I stop right there? 270.
The numbers ain't working.
I'm worried. Who's your math teacher?
Mr. Bird.
Oh, I'm so telling. All right, here we go. If I start here, this should be the easiest one. Jesse, you got this. I know you do.
360.
See, I knew you had it. Okay. Now, an angle is created by two line segments. One, we have the first, and the second one is creating the angle. But if we don't see it, it's like having two on top of each other, right? I haven't opened up to be the angle yet. So what angle am I talking about? Angle of 0, right? It hasn't opened. What is the length of my line? We have enough information. Please, you've got your line is at the origin right now. I want you to hit the at key. The distance, which is 5. So type in, so at 5. Now hold shift and hit the comma, and that'll give you your angle button. And what angle did we just discuss? 0. Good. So at 5, an angle of 0, hit enter. You should have this beautiful picture. Now we are standing right here because we're going to go at. So let me go ahead and write this at 5 of an angle of 0. That got us to here. And I want to come up to this location. So again, assume, let me get to red, we're standing right here. Yoink. And we want to get to this location. First of all, how long is my line? 5. At 5. Now hold on a second. If I'm right here, okay, always start from the positive x-axis. Here it is. How many degrees?
90.
At 5, angle of 90. If you're struggling with this, you've got to turn to your neighbor, see what they're doing, get some help, because this is a weird one. It gets easier. Let me change my colors. Purple. Okay, now I want to get to this location right here. And I'm standing at this spot. So the at is immediately in play because it's relative in nature. What is the length of my line? At 5, what is my angle?
180.
You're starting here. Here we go. Put yourself at this location. Ready? You just went 90 and then 180. Notice to go to the left, we didn't have to use a negative because the angle, since it's 180, one angle is pointing to the left. So there's no negatives that we really need to do for a distance because the angle tells it which way to go. So at 5 of an angle of 150.
Huh?
180.
Oh.
I think Jesse's aura is like I stepped too close to him. I'm back. Okay, my head fog is gone.
It's back at 3 though.
Is it 360 now?
At 5 of an angle of 180. So from here gets me to this location because we can see, like right here, look, there's 180 degrees. All right, let's change the color and finish the last one. Let's go to good brown. I like that. We are now standing right here, and we want to draw the line back to where we were at. So we know we'll start with the at symbol. Again, the distance is 5. Now, for those of you visually people, let's see how many degrees.
270. Yeah.
You agree? It's not 360. I started here at the positive x-axis. I went 90, 180, plus 180 plus another 90 is 270. So 270 is pointing straight down. 360, here we go, watch. 90, 180, 270, 360. I would have gone this way 5 units at 360. So at 5, an angle of 270. gives you your square.
So what if you accidentally like stack a line on top of another? Will it like? Is it like SolidWorks where like?
No, you actually can stack as many lines as you want on top of each other, but there is a problem with that. Once we start getting into trimming and cutting, you might cut through everything or only one at a time, and it can cause problems. And if you like try to click on a line and delete it, and all of a sudden you're like, wait, why is that line still there? Well, actually, it's not. You deleted that one line. You just happen to have another one underneath it. You'll probably get confused really easily. But you can stack an infinite number of lines on top of each other. Okay, let's practice. Ba-da-bum, ba-da-bum, bum, bum. Let me freeze my screen for a second. Let me pause my work. Welcome back, everyone. This is recording again. Now, for recording and you're watching it, obviously it didn't seem like long at all, but we took about 10 to 15 minutes on this piece. So I'm going to walk around. Now, this is a JPEG, not a PDF, so I can't write on it like I normally do. So I'll have to verbally kind of go over it. If there's a question, if something doesn't make sense.
No, the right. So like the leftist thing on the no, to the right. The first one.
A little more, just a little right.
Yeah.
That's edit the image.
Look what you did, Susie.
You see how like I can edit the size of it. It's not really going to allow me to do what I want. Can I just go over it?
Yeah.
So I want to show you some fun stuff today as well. Okay. We started off at 1.1. No problem, absolute. 4.1 comma 1, absolute. 4.5 comma 2, 2.2, good. And then we already went over the distance at 2.3, angle of 0, because again, you know what? There we go. That might be easier. So this way I can at least draw on the board if there's a question. At 2.3, angle of 0. We talked about this one as well. We see the distance. That's the at 1.4. But don't put in 150 because at 150, remember, you're standing right here. 150 is over this direction. And that's not quite what you need. Remember, starting from the positive x-axis, which would be right here. Imagine that invisible line coming out. We come up to 90. We come up to 180. 180 minus 150. That angle right here is 30. So 1.4 angle of 30. I'm now standing at this location. Distance is 2.1, so at 2.1. And again, imagine a horizontal line right here that's going straight up. That's 90 degrees at 2.1 angle of 90. I'm standing right here. A little harder. We know the distance is 1.6, but start right here. This is 0 degrees. I went up 90. I went over to 180. I went down to 270. But then I have to back 150. So 270 minus 150 is 120. And that makes sense because if you look at 120, let me do this real fast. That's 90, right? There's a little sliver left. Guess what? That's 30 because 90 plus 30 is 120, and that does look like the correct angle.
I actually got that.
Well done.
I got it too. He's the one that got me.
We are now standing at this location. This is an angle, at the distance of 1.3. Again, 0. We're going the opposite direction. Angle of 180. That leads us to this location. Am I going too quickly? All right. Here we go. The distance at 1.4. What is your angle? 270. Because there's 0, 90, 180, 270 going straight down. Here we go. At 2.2 of an angle. Again, start right here. There's 90 plus 45. 135. At 2.2 angle, 135. I'm now standing right here at this location. It's a little hard to see, sorry. At 1 of an angle of 180 because there's 0, 90, 180. We're standing here at 1.5, the distance of an angle of 90. There's 180. It's 45 past 180, which is 225. So at 1.5 angle 225. We're standing right here. I've got an angle of, a distance of at 1 of an angle. Well, let's see, 90, 180, 270, 360 minus 60. 300, right? So I could say at 2.3 of an angle of 300. Those of you that are getting this very easily, we can do an easier way. If I'm standing right here and I wanted to get this, instead of saying at 2.3 of an angle of 300, I could say at 2.3 of an angle negative 60. Positive opens up. Negative opens down. You don't need to do it though, but it makes things a little bit easier. If you didn't catch that, continue it the same way like we do everything. Always open up and around. You okay with that? We're right here now. This is a little bit trickier. We don't know the length of it. I would type in 1.1 or did anyone use C? Yeah, great little device, isn't it? Okay. How many people, show your brethren, tried to delete something and the whole thing just disappeared? Yeah, look around.
2 to 3 times.
Yeah, you're in good company. How many people wanted to you hit escape accidentally and all of a sudden you have a great picture, but you couldn't leave, like you wanted to start off right at that last point. And then you're like, how do I get back to that point? And then you had to start all the way over again anyways. Well, guys, clear your screens. Let's have this conversation.
Just a few, if you said it's a few minutes, hours, and it's just.
Okay. Within the snap mode, snap mode can only snap to the grid itself, but there's actually a ton of other wonderful snaps that we can go to very easily, but they're turned off right now. If you think of a line, go back to geometry class. There it is, from this knuckle to this knuckle, and it goes straight across. What are some points that you know exist according to this line? Endpoints. In fact, right there and right here. Those are something given. What other point do you guarantee you know?
Point.
Right where my head is, that ugly thing in the middle, okay? So every line has these given points, but we can't find them. Let's turn them on. So what I'm going to do at this point is let's just click line, and we'll use the interactive method. Point and click, draw a line anywhere you want. I don't care what it looks like, what angle. Hit escape to kill the command and grab a new line now. And we're going to try to start right at the end point of the last, but it doesn't matter how far I even zoom in. I will never, ever be able to be perfect. Now, until we do this. You know where snap mode is located. There's a downward arrow right next to snap mode by his 9 dots. Please click on those 9 dots. Look at your neighbor, make sure they see it as well. And there's 3 selections. Please choose snap setting. The third tab is called Object Snap. Please click on Object Snap. Does everyone sees the screen, correct? The only thing I want you to turn on at this point is the end point. Notice it correlates to a square shape. Keep that square shape in mind for me, please. Let's click OK. What's that? Just uncheck it, yeah. Okay, so go back to your drawing, hit escape to kill the command. Go ahead and click on line. Bring it over to your existing line. Did you notice as you approach the line? Look at that. I'm not even actually near the end. If I click right now, watch what happens. I'm using the interactive method. Boom, it jumped. It knew that point. It has to exist.
TC's doesn't work.
I'll be right there.
Why are y'all laughing? What's something to laugh about? Y'all just want to laugh at it.
It's not even just me.
Oh.
I'm saying.
Hey!
No, that's my fault.
All right. So, guys, that last piece, if for some reason you hit escape and you're like, oh no, I can't. Now we can start at the end point of any line that we want without having to start the piece over. Isn't that wonderful? You can be mad at me. You wanted me to show you that first. But I'm telling you right now, you have to have a strong foundation in the 5 ways to communicate with AutoCAD. These shortcuts I'm going to show you are phenomenal, but if you're not comfortable with the 5 ways, you're going to bomb. Okay, so endpoints, pretty good. Let's go back down to snap settings, please. And we'll go into that third tab. What is the shape associated with midpoint? Let's turn that midpoint on. If your neighbor doesn't have the screen or is lost, help them out. Click OK, click Align, and hover around whatever you have drawn. Nothing gets by Mr. Perez. How you guys doing? Do you want me to go over it? Common sense? Easy? With the midpoint activated, we can see the triangle, and I don't have to do any calculations. Whatever length of line that is, it will automatically give me the endpoint. And now I can jump to midpoints and endpoints, whatever I really want. It's not going to matter. And I don't have to be exactly on there. Watch. Do you see where my mouse is? I am clearly not on that endpoint or that midpoint. But since that green icon is lit, as soon as I click, it will snap to that location. There it is. I don't have to worry about it.
What if you don't want it at the midpoint? You just want it to the side of it.
You have to turn it off. And that is the downfall of snaps. Because as soon as I hover over this line, let's say I wanted to go to this spot right here. Just because that midpoint snap is on, I will not be able to click at that location. Most of our points usually are endpoints and midpoints are very common. But that's not the way the real world works. So you will be going into that snap mode and changing things on and off. And there's actually even more shortcuts. They're overriding snaps. I'll teach in about a week. And it makes things quicker as well. But right now, again, just the basics. I want to get you guys comfortable with this. All right, let's go back down to snap settings, grid snaps. Third tab is object snap. And you know what? No, I want to do this step by step. Don't do anything. Just leave your endpoint and midpoint on. Click OK. I'm going to leave a weird shape there. We haven't really used any other drawing features other than the line. Today, I want to talk a little bit about the circle. We're going to create a circle. In fact, there's many ways to use it. If I hover over center radius and give it another second, you'll see how we get the visual. If I use this, 0.1 always represents the very center of the circle. 0.2 is going to represent the radius of it. If I hover over center diameter, wait long enough, you can see 0.1 is here, but my second point will actually reference the length of the diameter. There's many different ways that we can draw circles. In fact, this is kind of a neat one. 2 point. I literally just click on opposite sides and it creates a circle perfectly for whatever my needs may be. Many more options than in SolidWorks to create a two-dimensional circle. But for right now, let's just go up and use center radius. Notice AutoCAD is trying to communicate with me. It's saying, hey, yeah, I'll do a circle for you. Would you please specify where the center of that is located and use the interactive method. I don't care, just click. And then we'll move our mouse and we see the radius. I could type in the radius myself. If it specifically had to be 1.5, 18, who cares? Right now, we're just going to do an interactive method, and I'm going to click. So we all have a circle on our screen. Agreed? Good. Hit escape once. Go ahead and click line. Start at an endpoint or midpoint from your original structure, and then try to connect it to the circle.
Yeah.
Why not?
Nothing pops up.
No, that's the reason why. There's no endpoint to the circle. There's no midpoint to a circle. Geometry, okay? What do circles have?
And it's circle.
Okay, I heard some good things actually.
Origin.
Okay, the origin is the center, okay? So we're gonna find out what else does circles have that points that we know for a fact. Did you say it?
That's what tangents.
You redeemed yourself. Nice job. He said tangent points. There absolutely is. We'll get to those as well. And let's go ahead and turn some things on. Let's go back down now to our snap settings. Third page, object snap. And let's click on just the word center. Because there's a big difference between geometric center and center. So don't click geometric center, just click on center, click OK. Now draw your line over to your circle.
Yes.
You have the center?
Yes.
That's all you have, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and do mine as well. There it is. And there's my center. I don't even have to be near it. Works out nice. Let's go back down to our snap settings.
Oh, actually, sorry, mine doesn't do that. I have to,
Go to your snap settings, please. I want to see it.
if I'm close,
Go to your snap settings, please.
like it shows me the
Just go to your
center.
snap settings,
This
please.
one's-
You're good.
It didn't pass.
It will. Click on it. Go
Or
back
if
to
it's
your
not
center.
close.
It will. Okay, now third tab, skip geometric center. I'll come back to that one. And I want you to choose quadrant. Quadrant has a diamond shape to it. I'll click OK. Draw a line anywhere from an endpoint or a midpoint, and then hover over your circle to try to understand what a quadrant does.
Oh.
Those points represent to specific angles. You notice 0, 90, 180, 270, and or 360. Kind of really important. Those are real points on every circle. Good, so
His computer.
whose computer? What?
No, I'm talking about he went crazy with the triangle
Good.
stuff.
It's fun. It really is. Okay. Let's see. What else do I want to teach today? Snap settings, object. We'll do one more. Let's go ahead and we'll do intersection. Intersection seems pretty obvious. It's got an X to it. Let's go ahead and turn it on. Now for this one, I'm going to purposely create two lines that cross each other. And you agree that they intersect right there. Just draw an X.
I have a question.
Hold that thought. I promise I'll answer it, okay? Now I'm going to draw a new line. It doesn't matter where. But as I approach my intersection, be very careful. Because this line, both of these lines, don't they have midpoints? I'm really close. I have to be careful. If I don't want the midpoints, I'm going to hover. Watch. Hey, look, there's the midpoint. There's a midpoint. I'm going to trackball in and notice how close my midpoint is actually to intersection. So I'm going to get real close and look at that. It now says, wait a minute, you probably want that intersection. So I can get even more specific because look at the building. Look at every line. Doesn't it intersect with another line?
Yes.
So the intersection is a really powerful tool as well. But it can be difficult because if we are not paying attention to the symbols, that intersection is a green X, but I might actually jump on a green triangle, which represents midpoint, or a green square, which represents, got it, or a circle, which is the center of the circle. So all of these little green snaps greatly help you, but it can pull your mouse into the wrong direction if you're not paying close attention. In fact, I think mine just did. I went to the wrong spot. There we go. Cool. Guys, I'm going to stop it right now. That was a lot of information, and I know I have some people absent, so I'm hoping that they watch this video. So you can play around. Do not turn any more snaps on.